the other ROM. We have display input, the usual long press settings I always use, and we also have long press to kill the application, very useful if you want to conserve energy. You can tinker with what the long press home button does, what the long press this does, and so forth. We have performance, which basically just shows you the CPU settings, and also these things which, if you don't know, you shouldn't tinker with. I have disabled boot animation to speed up the phone, lock home in memory, speed up, lock messaging, avoid dropped calls. Those are all there. We also have sound, which I never really get into because there's so many settings that I really don't need to get into that. But all the other things is pretty good. The last thing we have is the tablet tweaks, which is right here, which some people like putting the status bar on the bottom, as you can see, like that. And there's also disable lock screen, which I have on. I never have the lock screen using because I'm not worried about anybody using my device. And voice input and output doesn't work as far as I know. Next thing we have is some information. They have a screen texter, which is pretty neat for children if you want to distract them. There's CPU info, location security. CPU info just gives you a bunch of data, which I have no use for as well. About phone, which is shown right here. So I'm running CyanogenMOD 7.2. It shows the memory, processor. Just to let you know, I'm running at 850 right now, MHz. Even though the phone itself was actually at 550, I just have it overclocked. It also gives you the status of the phone and battery use. So what's been using the battery. My phone has been on for 2.5 hours of display time, so that's pretty good. No wonder it's at 15% right now. And just to let you know, if you want to have an idea of how good the battery life is, the display is the #1 thing. Even though there's standby times, call times, everything, but then the display is what eats up the most of the battery. So for my phone to have 2.5 hours of display use and still be running, that is pretty good, especially since it is a very old device. And that's pretty much for all the settings. Now to go on to the launcher, which is based off of Sony's launcher. Like I said, this is basically the Frankenstein of ROMs. It is using CM, it is using MUI, and it is using Sony for the launcher. And there's the M logo here. I'm pretty sure they actually use that because of Motorola itself. The launcher I actually really like, mainly because I'm a big fan of the clock here. And I also like these animations they have here. A lot pretty fancy for such a deteriorating device. And it also has animation to get rid of the application. And for the preferences of the home launcher, it's in Chinese again, unfortunately, but you can actually guess approximately what it means. Like this one's about like how many screens that you want, or how many rows of icons you want and such. This one is talking about whether you want which one to be the main, so I have it set as the center as the main one, meaning if I press home it will go to the center. That's standard. They also have backup and restore. This is just the information. Xperia Home, using the Xperia launcher. Other things such as the different themes that it has. It only has 2 themes, and there's one that I really like and it's right here, I think. Yes, this is basically the apps that you don't want to show on your app drawer, and I have a lot of these checked because I have no need for them and they only lag.